This is the aftermath in Zaventem Airport. Authorities say the attack targeted the departure hall just after 8 o'clock when hundreds were checking in for their morning flights. What you're looking at here is video showing the aftermath at the subway. That was the third of the bombs, and it came about an hour after the blasts inside the airport. According to officials, there are 15 dead, 55 wounded at the subway itself. In this video, subway passengers try to get to safety, and it's from the Twitter feed of one of the survivors. He has talked about walking to safety, actually walking along the tracks in the dark, smoke-filled hall and tunnel to find safety.
Yes, many times or...
Now, what we're looking at here is just coming into me now, so we're looking at this together for the very first time. Again, you see the luggage, you see somebody huddle on the ground, crouched, trying to find some protection from the threat, from the bombs going off. We know within seconds, there you see again the reaction, someone tending to someone. Part of the ceiling collapsed as hundreds were gathered to catch their flights. We know it was in an area where they were checking in oversized baggage. Seconds later, a second blast near a Starbucks kiosk, as a matter of fact. And what we're hearing as far as numbers, those are changing. But from the airport themselves, 13 was the earlier number, maybe revised down to 11, but we're certainly dealing with at least 10 deaths and another number of about 30 people who are wounded from that airport bomb, the series of attacks. Now, Thomas Degg, looking at these pictures together for the first time through social media, we are getting just an extraordinary view of the attacks themselves, the bombs very close in timing, and then the aftermath, the chaos, bloodied victims, people running for their lives. Thomas, this is really extraordinary video, and it tells the story of what happened there just after 8 o'clock this morning.
And you can see the smoke billowing from inside that airport terminal. Those two bombs going off this morning around 8 o'clock at Brussels time. One of the attacks, at least the first bombing, according to a Belgian prosecutor, was likely caused by a suicide bomber. It's unclear at this point whether authorities are still looking for suspects who were involved, who were there this morning. So about an hour after those two attacks, those two bombings at the airport, another blast happening at the metro station in central Brussels near the EU offices. The EU has told its staff to stay home. The Crisis Management Center in Belgium has told practically everyone, in fact, in Brussels to stay at home, to stay away from public transit. Public transit has been shut down for the day. There are no trains running, no planes coming in or out of that airport. And the Prime Minister has said, as you mentioned, Heather, and this is key here, what we feared has happened. Belgium and other European countries had been bracing for this.
And we'll get to that in just a second in terms of the timing. I just want to make sure that we hit on one point, Thomas, and that is that of all the casualties and the numbers are changing, maybe 11, maybe 13 in the airport, 15 and 55 wounded in the subway. That we know from subway and transit authorities. What we heard from the Prime Minister is not all of them were Belgian, of course, and many embassies are being notified. There may be many foreign involvement here. We know from various accounts an Indian injury, a Slovenian injury. There are reports no British casualties at this point. So we'll continue to watch that, and we're going to put up on the screen as the morning goes on a number for anyone with questions about any Canadians who may be involved, who may be in Brussels at this time, if there are any people with concerns about friends or family traveling overseas. Again, looking at this video that we've just got, it's just stunning. You see people looking to, looks like trying to protect someone there in the immediate aftermath of the bombs, one back to back. Thomas, again, the whole question of the timing of all of this, you mentioned the raids just days ago, which captured Salah Abdeslam, the last of the suspected Paris attackers. I'm not seeing any formal claims of responsibility, but what are we looking at in terms of, we do know these are terrorist attacks. We heard that from officials, suicide bomb. Are they drawing any parallels?
There are certainly questions whether authorities are directly linking this or not to the arrest of Salah Abdeslam, who you see there. That happened just 4 days ago. And yesterday, authorities here in Belgium, said that there was quite likely a possibility that there could be retaliatory attacks or some sort of revenge on the part of ISIS or other groups affiliated with Salah Abdeslam after he was arrested on Friday. We also heard from a prosecutor that just this year, just since January, there had been upwards of 60 terrorism-related investigations that were underway in Belgium. The UK had also been bracing for a terror threat. A top anti-terror commissioner has said that ISIS was planning what he called a spectacular attack in Britain. We heard from the French president a little earlier saying, of course, Brussels was the hardest hit here, but all of Europe was the target. Heather.